We're now in the course analysis objectives. We've already completed the analysis, the outline, and now we're looking at course objectives. This is a very important part of your structure when you're developing a course outline. We've finished the outline. In this tab you'll be able to see the outline and the elements in the outline where we've structured the way we're going to present the course by each of the individual outline elements. We're going to move on into the objectives, and I'm going to show you what they really are. There's a thing called a T objective or terminal objective, and there's a number involved with that. And what it is, it's basically the outline header in the 1.0 and the enabling objective or EO. And EO is explaining more about the terminal objective. What is a terminal objective? A terminal objective is very similar to the section group in the Udemy course design when you're doing the curriculum. Let's take a look at that. This would be the section header, which is a short statement. There's also a description for the section statement. And then each time there's a lesson and you're in the lesson, there's going to be a portion for the lecture title and then also a section about what's going to be covered. Well, this is more like the EO in this area, and this is the TO up there in the section. But for each TO, there is an EO. You may be repeating the enabling objectives and the terminal objectives. And let's go back and look at how we're doing that. If you take a look at this particular terminal objective, it's about the Udemy instructor. And it talks a little about the student who is in this, is going to do the approach, and we're talking about the instructor will do the following things. And these are statements that are bulletized that are going to be the enabling objectives that need to be covered in this section. And for example, if you're looking at the initial one, it's the section description, and you can have one terminal objective for that, and then a short lecture statement as far as what's going to be in the lecture, and then the actual what's going to be completed as far as the enabling objective in each one of these lessons or lectures. So let's go back over here. So you should see in an enabling objective the outcome or task analysis outcome would be the instructor who is designing the curriculum development are being introduced to the ISD approach for curriculum design. That's the first thing you're going to be covering. So the actual statement in your thing over here would be something that would lead to that. Now this is a course that I'm developing. It doesn't have the same information, but it would say something about the instructor will do the following in course design, blah, blah, blah. You'd pick up whatever that statement is that you want to put in here that describes that particular enabling objective. You would go down through them. You could have more than one thing covered per lecture, but you should be covering these equally. In other words, for example, if I did not cover everything in this section, I would create a duplicate up here, which would be another lesson as a terminal objective for the lesson level. And then I would break down it again and follow through if I didn't cover all the elements as far as terminal objective bulleted items in that one enabling objective. You can have more than one is what I'm really saying here. So I would start out with a Udemy instructor. I would have at least one enabling objective that I would cover, and obviously maybe 3 or 4. And if I didn't want to complete that in that one lecture, I would recreate the Udemy instructor again. I would change it to 1.01, and then I would continue on, and then I would cover the rest of the enabling objectives in another lesson, which would be the second one. So to be clear, let's recap a little bit. We're attempting here to actually create both the section TO and EO, and then each lecture TO and EO as to what's going to be covered. And you can repeat the EOs as many times as you need to, or you can finish one EO and then move to the next thing like 1.2 and so forth as you go down. But if you take a look at your outline, you should be staying within the area for the outline as you're working through it. And then the next one you would move to is the way you developed your outline. The next one would be student selection. the development team, the instructor skills, and so forth. But you would break each one of these down in the course objectives in order to get the information you need to build your course outline with. So in the recap that we're talking about, you can see where I've done that in this course. I'm developing a database analysis and requirements, and then I go on to explain that in the statement. I also have the individual name of the enabling objective that comes over into the Udemy course for that particular lesson or lecture. So you see the information you need to work with within the scope of the actual design in the ISD model and how it is actually translated over into the Udemy course curriculum. Now, why would we go through all that? Because as you go through and you bulletize all this information and you're looking at the structure, this is really the background to when you go to the course design, which is the next element that we're going to be going to. And unless you do this, you're going to miss elements. You're going to stumble around and try to do things out of order. So what this really does is it does those two things. It puts them in the order of the instruction in the process that you're going to do. It brings to light all the elements and how you're going to present them in the order you're going to present them in the enabling objectives. And then when you're building your actual course, which you're doing in the next section, you're looking at this information as you're getting to the point where you're writing the narrative and collecting the media or the type of way you're going to actually present your course based on what you're actually doing in both the terminal and enabling objectives. So you should have a very clear picture of what you're building when you get to the design portion of the course. Let's go ahead and look in the portal so you can see what the portal looks like. It's a little easier to see because it's got the information actually broken down, and you can stop the process of the presentation and read through what I'm doing here. And I'm stating each relevant item that I want to cover in the order that I want to cover them. You would have thought maybe I would have done that in the outline. What the outline does is it's rough information that you're going to be using for course instruction. It's the facts that you found in your analysis. And now you're taking those facts and you're breaking them down and telling in the course what is actually going to be the result of that information. I'm going to use it in this way in order to present that information so that it is in a formulated way, and it's going to be giving. It's a recipe. It's a recipe for how to present the information in the order it should be done. Okay, I don't want to go overboard on this trying to explain it, but it is very important, and it's one of those things you need to do to get a high quality product when you're done designing your course. If you have any questions, as usual, you can contact me through our support site. Thank you.